Right, Paris Saint-Germain sealed their first Champions League in extraordinary style, didn't they, on Saturday, as Luis Enrique's side beat Inter Milan 5-0 in Munich. For more on this, I'm pleased to say we're joined live by the French football expert and PSG fan, Julien Laurens. Always lovely to see you, Julien. You were at the final. Has it sunk in yet? How did you celebrate? Are you still celebrating?
Hello. Yeah, I'm still very much celebrating. I don't think I've just realized what they've done and what that night was about, really. It was so incredible to be there working, to be fair, but also, as you said, as a fan. My two sons were in the stands, my cousins, my best friend was there too. They all traveled from Paris, and it felt very special to be there. I've been waiting for this a very long time. I'm 45 in October, so it's a long time of waiting for the club and for other fans. It's even longer to wait. So it was phenomenal, really. And to do it the way they did, I don't think in my wildest dreams I could have thought that this was possible. So incredible night.
Yeah, I mean, fair to say they absolutely demolished Inter Milan. It looked like, somebody gave this analogy, kind of like boys against men, but in a really good way. You know, it feels like the beginning of the journey for this very young team. How impressed have you been with them?
So impressed. I mean, we spoke before the quarterfinals and semi-final together. I was on your show and we said this is a team that was growing, getting better and better. Something clicked against Manchester City in January in the league phase, and then against Liverpool, clearly at Anfield in their second leg where they won on penalties, and they showed so much maturity in their display. Well, that's one thing. It's another thing to put up a masterclass like they did in the Champions League final when you are the youngest team in the competition, one of the youngest in the history of a European Cup final in all. So the game plan was perfect on the way they pressed Inter Milan, never let them be able to play their game. And what PSG did with the ball, Vitinha, especially Dembele, Désiré Doué, obviously the star of the night with his 2 goals and his assist. But just overall, everybody played almost at perfect level. The whole team collectively was almost perfect. And it was a game where they could easily have scored more goals even. So just perfect from start to finish.
Yeah, watching it was just like they were just sort of running rings around Inter, wasn't it? And the Inter just couldn't cope with the speed of them, you know. And when you think back, superstars such as Mbappe, Messi and Neymar have all tried and failed to lift this trophy. How much credit then goes to the top and Luis Enrique for this?
Almost all of it, Vicky. Really, not all of it, because there's the sporting director and the owner and the president and all of that. But this is Luis Enrique's project, very much. This is his team. He's the architect of this incredible success. He'd done it before with Barcelona 10 years ago when he won the treble already. But he already had inherited a team with the greatest player of all time in it to start with in Messi, but a very good team overall. This time he had to build it himself, pretty much, with the players he wanted, going to sign the players. They still invested a lot of money on those youngsters like João Neves or Désiré Doué, but he improved everybody. And then collectively, you mentioned all that fluidity, but always within that structure, the mobility of all the players, switching positions, but there's always someone in the right place, in the right position. So an incredible tactical machine, really, served by individual talent that make a team. And when you play as a team, you attack together, you defend together, which is really the motto here. Then everything is much easier.
Yeah, you mentioned his tactics. You know, it's his tactical nous that's extraordinary, isn't it? And he becomes just the second coach, obviously, after somebody who's pretty good at tactics as well, Pep Guardiola, to win the treble with 2 different clubs. Where does he rank for you in terms of other elite-level coaches?
He has to be right at the top for me. Now, there's not many managers who won two Champions League, with 2 different teams. He's one of them. We mentioned Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, and a few others, but I think there's 6 or 7 of them maximum. So that's it. And then, as you said, it's him and Pep for 2 trebles with 2 different teams. And I know in those 10 years between the Barcelona triumph and Saturday night, things haven't been great for him with Spain, with Roma, those kind of experiences that he's had through his coaching career, not just on those 10 years even, has been a bit up and down. And that's why maybe people didn't think before he got to the PSG job that he was one of the world-class managers. I think now he showed that with the win on Saturday and this incredible treble season that he is definitely one of the best.
Yeah, he is remarkable, isn't he? Let's touch on some of those remarkable players then. It's been Ousmane Dembele's season, you'd have to say, but it was Désiré Doué's night, wasn't it, on Saturday? 19 years of age. How excited are you about him? Is he the next superstar, do you think?
I think he's got all the potential for it, all the qualities. It's his birthday tomorrow. If you want to wish him a happy birthday,
happy
we can do it
birthday,
now. We can
Desiree.
wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, joyeux anniversaire, Desiree. He has the mental strength is incredible. He has the upper body of a boxer, the legs and the strength in the legs of a sprinter, and he's got the feet of Neymar, who is his icon, who he models his game on. Certainly the good about his game. But at 19, 9 months ago last September, he had never played Champions League football ever in his life. He didn't know what it was. The music was what he used to listen when he was watching on television in his sofa. 9 months later, he's the star of that incredible final, 2 goals and assist. During the celebrations around Paris and at the Parc des Princes last night, he was the biggest star, he feels. And he's, like you said, he's got 1 cap for France and 17 Champions League matches in his whole career on his CV. But yeah, Saturday was his night, really, and I don't think we will ever forget that. And then I think he can go far, of course. He's got so much talent. He started in Ligue 1 for Rennes when he was 16, scored his first goal in Ligue 1 when he was 16 as well. So this was always going to happen. It's just so crazy that he happened so young.
Yeah, I bet France are just rubbing their hands with glee to have him front and centre of everything. Let's talk about Dembele then, because, of course, he won Player of the Season awards for this season's Champions League. Do you expect him to also pick up this season's Ballon d'Or?
I think he's a strong favourite. He's not the only one, because Rafinha has had a great season. Lamine Yamal has had a great season. There are other players there in the conversation, but he's currently the best player in the best team in Europe. So naturally, he has to be the favourite for it. And it's not just the goals and the assists. He's got 45 goals involvement in 49 games this season in all competition, which is remarkable. 33 goals, 12 assists. But it's all the rest, everything else. As we said before, and as we saw in the final, all his pressing, all the leadership, leading by example, everybody follows. He triggers everything in that team. And yeah, I'm obviously completely biased, but I would give it to him.
Yeah, of course, you're a little bit biased. Look, do you think this is like the start of a period of European dominance for PSG? Because, there was one stage during this tournament that they didn't look like they'd even get this far, and then they just went through everyone, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a slow start. They were very stuttering at the start of that league phase, and it looked like at some point they might not even qualify for the knockout stages. And then that game against City, where they 2-0 down after 55 minutes at the Parc des Princes, and they turn it around. Barcola nutmegs Matheus Nunes, then he crosses the ball, Dembele scores, and after that, they just destroy City, win 4-2, and never looked back since. There was the 2 Liverpool games, which for me are also a turning point in there, because he gave them the confidence and the belief that they could beat anyone at any time. And that's when they did. When you beat the team that finished first in the Premier League and second and third and sixth, all through this Champions League campaign is very special. So what's interesting, Vicky, is when you look at other great young generation before, like the Ajax team in 95, they reached the final in 96 of the Champions League too. And after that, the top clubs came and signed all their best players, really. And I'm not sure this would be the case with this team. I think they can stay together for another 2 or 3 years. But then at some point, the Premier League is going to come for Doué. It's going to come for Barcola. It's going to come for Kvaratskhelia. And maybe Real Madrid are going to come for Vitinha or Barcelona. And at some point, it might be harder to keep them. But for now, and the next 2 or 3 years easily, I think they will stay together and keep growing together.
Yeah, sorry about that, but I would quite like to see some of those players in the Premier League, has to be said, wherever they go. Look, we have to talk about it because it's something that's really marred the occasion, isn't it? Because, of course, they celebrated that victory with a parade through Paris yesterday, but it was so overshadowed by the death of 2 people on Saturday evening. What are your thoughts about it?
I think you're right, it's really sad. We should not be seeing those scenes, and instead of talking about the great triumph, this winning in Champions League, history being made, we talk also about all those incidents, all the troublemaking, the troublemakers. It was the same after the semi-final when they qualified for the final. There's a lot of great people in Paris, and it's the best city in the world, but there's also a lot of stupid people in there. And unfortunately, they were right at the center of those celebrations, burning cars and looting shops and breaking windows everywhere. They did it again last night. They threw iron fences onto the peripheric when cars were driving on it with people in it and families in it, which was super dangerous. So I don't understand why you can't just celebrate your team winning a Champions League in peace and just be happy and then just be together and having a massive party together. No, some have to be causing trouble, and it's a real shame.
Yeah, I hear you, Julien. Finally, let's just talk about transfers then. We understand that Lyon's Ryan Cherki, is that right, attracting a lot of interest from Manchester City. Do you expect that to get over the line? And you'll have to explain to me, what sort of player are they getting?
Yeah, I think this one, the negotiations and talks are continuing now between the two clubs and between City and Ryan Cherki's entourage, which is the same as Kylian Mbappe. He's really interested in joining City. They just love him. They've loved him for a while now, and they are not the only team. Chelsea and Liverpool also have looked into him. He's a super gifted, super talented player. He's got right foot, left foot. He can take corners and free kicks with both feet. He's that good. You can't tell if he's more right-footed or left-footed. So that's special in itself. And this season especially has been his season. I think there's his 44 goals involvement or 34 goals involvement, between goals and assists for Lyon in all competitions. He's been outstanding. Before, you could see the talent, but the consistency wasn't there and the decision-making neither. But this time he's right there. I think he's ready for a big move, especially to the Premier League. I think he would suit Pep and City because he can play in many different ways, and he's about to celebrate his first cap for France. He's been called up for the first time. He will be in the squad for the Nations League semi-final and hopefully final in the next few days. So we will see him for the first time on international scenes because he played for the under-21s before, destroyed England a few months ago at under-21 level.
Thanks, Julien.
The big level, I had to remind you of that.
Yeah, thanks.
The A team is the big thing. But yeah, I think he ticks all the boxes for Guardiola.
All right, brilliant as always. Lovely to talk to you. Thanks ever so much for joining us, Julien.
Thank you so much. Thank you.